All right, guys, welcome to the Fitness Society podcast. Today we got a special guest, Adam Trice. Adam's from Ohio, where me and Connor are from. We grew up in the same town, hung out a lot growing up. We did a lot of thrift shopping together.
Yep.
So he's in Port Orange now, and you're doing what?
I'm in college to be a chiropractor, so it's Palmer College Chiropractic. Finished my bachelor's degree at Ohio University. That was in exercise physiology. Took me a little longer than I expected, but we're here in Florida working on that, becoming a chiropractor. So.
And you're about an hour and a half north, Port Orange.
I explained for, it's about an hour, a little over an hour with the Florida traffic. So.
Yeah, Florida traffic for sure. Different than Ohio, that's for sure.
Definitely. I mean, in Ohio, it's like you drive 5 miles, it takes you maybe 5 minutes. Here, 5 miles is like 15.
Oh, yeah.
Minutes. It's wild.
Yeah, it sucks. But we wanted to have Adam on today to talk. We got a lot of people in the age group around here that are in college. A lot of kids going to FIT, Central. A lot of kids around here the same age that are probably watching that struggle with money and finding little side hustles to do while they're a full-time college student. And I think it's a lot of kids have to call mom and dad. A lot of kids, which is great. If you have, if you're blessed enough to be able to call your parents to get help while you're in school full time, that's awesome. But most people, don't have a full ride. We know how expensive college is and everything.
It's not cheap.
And there's no way you could possibly have a job, even a part-time job with what you're doing right now.
I know I couldn't work during school. It's just too stressful.
Yeah, especially now.
Yeah,
there's no way,
I mean, I'm in
no
school
way you could have a job.
7:30 to 4:30 almost every other day.
Yeah, and then you're studying if you're not at school.
I get home, work out, make some food, and study.
So you started reselling when?
So I guess like you touched on before, me and you, or you and I used to go to Goodwill after school just on some goofy stuff, just trying to find some weird outfits to wear to the next day of school.
Well, there wasn't a whole lot to do in our town either.
Yeah, I mean,
we'd get out of high school and you'd go work out and then be like, "Oh, what do you want to do? Let's go to some Goodwills, go to thrift shopping, and go find some goofy outfits." You find some goofy stuff, and then you might actually find some nice stuff that you could actually resell. We all did a little bit of reselling when we were in high school and stuff. My mom was really big into it.
Yeah, believe it or not,
she's like a resale god, or queen, I should say.
She loves eBay.
She would go and she finds the craziest stuff, like with the biggest profit margins. She buys them she goes to estate sales now, and she'll find electronic stuff that she has no idea what it is, but she sits there on her phone and researches like whatever it is in front of her. She'll see what it's selling for online on eBay, and then she'll pick it up. She's made like $600 flips in a day.
Oh yeah, easy.
She's bought an electronic part or some weird thing, and she's looked it up, and it's like $700 online, and it's $20 here. She went and got this. I don't even know what it was. It was like a disc for something for gaming, and it speeds everything up, and it's a very wanted electronic piece for people that are building PCs and stuff.
Those are those like golden ticket items.
Dude, she went, and this guy had 3 of them. And I think they were selling for like $250 a piece, and she got them for like $10.
Yeah.
And so she went and bought one, brought it home that day. The estate sale was like an hour away. She brought it home, flipped it for like $250 that night. It sold like that. Instant. So she went back the next day, drove an hour, and picked both of the other ones up and sold them all. Yeah. It's just crazy. So
like you mentioned, with thrifting is, you can go and not find anything, or you can go and find some, golden ticket, some big ticket item. Like you said, you can. While you're in the store, you can just look it up and see what it sells for. You know what I mean? You can, before you even buy it.
It's kind of fun too.
You don't even exactly. It's fun. You go. That's why I go a couple times a week still to this day, because I find you never know what you're gonna find. It's like finding treasure.
And it's the easiest thing for you to do for passive income. While you're at school, I mean, you could be sitting in class, you could be studying and sell 2 items and make a quick, $100. So that's what I really wanted to touch on today for a lot of the young people watching and a lot of the kids that are in college right now that are struggling with finances and want to find that extra money to be able to afford whatever they want to do still.
Yep.
Reselling's amazing. And I wanted to ask you a few questions about your reselling history. I know we went over like when we were in high school, we'd go and stuff, but it started getting more serious for you though when you went off to Ohio University and you started living on your own and you had an apartment and stuff like that. You had to buy food, groceries.
Yep, the weekend, college life.
Yeah, you had to afford that beer on Friday, Saturday night.
Yep.
So when you got to OU, you really started going more and more and selling more things. And you're also a very artistic person.
Yeah.
You know, you can paint, you can draw. So you were kind of making like custom pieces, and you still are too.
Yeah, I mean, so to rewind just a little bit, we used to go in high school. We were thrifting, and then I really started going, and I started really shopping at Goodwill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you were basically putting in the work.
Yeah, I was shopping, and I used to go there just to find some clothes that I could wear, and then I would accumulate those clothes, and then I started posting them online, and I would just take good pictures of them, have a good listing, and throw them up online. And next thing you know, I would sell. It started off with I would pay $5 for a hoodie, and it would sell for 20. And I'm like, this is pretty cool, So even if I spent $20 at Goodwill and got 5 things, I sell one thing, I made $20. It was like I got 4 other pieces for free.
Right. And that you could profit on.
Exactly. And I could keep those and wear them, and I could have them listed for sale.
And you were big into vintage.
Yep.
So that's the cool thing about thrift shopping is you can come across a lot of good vintage clothing. Like I'm talking
old, like
70s, 80s, 90s clothing, even way back when. Like you can find any era of clothing at a Goodwill.
And back then, like 2016 and even before
right when vintage started really
after,
popping off. Yeah.
It wasn't as popular now. Now I feel like it's very hard to find that. Like everyone knows to look for.
Everybody wants vintage.
Now,
yeah.
So
yeah.
Because it's where the the big money is really. I mean those old t-shirts.
Some of the old Tommy Hilfiger like jeans with the certain patch on the back on the belt loop.
Vintage
I remember my mom was always like, if you find any like vintage, I want to say it was vintage Tommy Hilfiger. There was another, maybe Wrangler had like these jeans. Yeah, there's a couple pairs of jeans that were like vintage style that you could sell for like $70, even more sometimes.
Oh yeah.
So you would go and you'd thrift shop and find these vintage clothes and put them up on your site.
Yeah, so it started.
And you had an Instagram too.
It
correct?
Started with just clothes, yep, and then I started posting a little bit of clothes on my Instagram. And then, it was thrifting, and then I started kind of getting into like I would go to the electronics, like you said, like your mom does, and it's you can just look it up on eBay. You go to what has sold like within the last month, and you can see prices of, okay, I'm gonna buy this DVD player for $15, and then you look on eBay and it sold 2 days ago for 150 plus shipping, and it's like, that might be a good thing to
worth it,
invest $15 in.
So you really look at the margin, the profit margin, of how much you can make on a certain item. So even if it's a piece of clothing, you would search that on eBay first, and then go to the setting where you can change it to sold items, so you can see what's actually sold rather than just what's up on eBay right now.
Yeah. So what's different than that is with the clothes. It's something like kind of a niche that I've created. I don't have to look up the clothes anymore. I just know if I see something that catches my eye, and that's something that I'm open to all categories. I'll sell anything that I can buy at a thrift store, and the clothes, I'll go for clothes that I like, and if it's my size, I'll end up maybe keeping it. Or I even have stuff that I have posted for sale that I still currently wear.
I remember
could sell the next morning.
You'd sell a lot of like concert tees.
Oh yeah,
like
concert
a vintage
tees.
Concert tee, like I remember, like a Bon Jovi concert tee from 1995 or something, with the tour dates on the back of it.
Exactly.
Those always sell.
Big
My
ticket.
girlfriend resells, and I'm always like, when I go with her, some of the stuff that I've learned from you, I'm like, hey, I'll be in the men's section. Of course, she's looking in the women's, and I'm like, I'll bring over shirts that I'm like, hey, this will sell. Vintage Harley Davidson shirts, vintage concert shirts.
Single stitch, so it's got like one stitch on the sleeve.
Yeah, it's crazy. So what was your biggest come up, you think, on it? What have you sold the most of, where you made the most money, or maybe the most craziest flip that gave you the best profit margin?
The craziest item that I first found, it was back in Madison, Ohio, back when I was just thrifting, for goofy stuff to wear. I came across like a black embroidered like 1990s Gucci T-shirt, and I think I paid maybe $2 or $3 for this shirt. It didn't even fit me. It was the size small.
It's a nice thing to add. You can find vintage designer in purses and wallets and stuff like that at these. You never know where you're gonna find.
So I found that Gucci shirt, and back then I don't even think I posted it for sale right away. Like I said, it was just something I bought. I was like, oh, that's super cool. Threw it in my closet, and then once I really, maybe a year later, I really started getting into like posting I would go and thrift. I would wash the clothes, take good pictures, and post them, and I would just wait to sell them. And I ended up finding that shirt in my closet and did some research. Looked up like what a similar shirt has sold for. And so again, I paid maybe $2 or $3 for that shirt, and I sold it for like $150.
And you're like, damn, if I can do this all the time.
I was really hooked after that, thinking like, okay, if I can go out and find like all these really good shirts, or find that designer vintage stuff. But that was one of the big ticket items that first started off.
And then you're like, actually, I can do this, and make some good money at this.
Say I made $100 off of that profit, or more. Then I would apply that $100 to going out and spending. Then the next week I would go out and spend $100.
You re-up on clothes to sell,
And then it just is.
And then you got into a bit of a Discord group.
Yeah.
So you got into a Discord group. Shout out to Connor. Connor got you because Connor was big into reselling. I mean, Connor took his whole spare bedroom and turned it into an eBay room at one point, and he was like making bank. He was using that to essentially help him fund Fitness Society's supplements. So it was a huge part of the funding to start and open his supplement shop, which is so cool.
So he introduced me to a paid Discord subscription. It was monthly. I think we paid $50 a month, and there was maybe 10,000 people in it. There was a large number of people that worked at Walmarts and Targets, people that, who knows what these people, where they're from, but as simple as they would send in something in the member announcements and be like, hey, this item is releasing tomorrow at Target at 10 a.m. and here's how much it's selling for on eBay. And you'd go onto the Target app on your phone. You don't even have to leave your apartment. You just get on the Target app, see this item in stock in your area, and it's $20, and then you go on eBay and it's selling for $80. Almost double the profit.
Yeah, so the Discord was basically giving you a heads up, like, hey,
the information.
Pay attention. This item's dropping at this store.
Exactly.
And it's going to be flipping on eBay for like double the amount. So if you go, just stock up on them.
A lot of people could be thinking too, it's like, oh, it's like Supreme or new Jordans that are releasing. No, I remember one time you had me searching for like a ball. It was a little kid's toy. Yeah.
What were they called? And then you open them and they're like minis.
Oh yeah, the mini brands.
Yeah, and there was like mini things, but they were selling for like they were like $10 or $5 at
and
this.
They were selling for like 30.
Yeah, it was like stupid, and it was a little kid's toy.
Yep. So little kids' toys. To where Connor, the first thing that he ever resold, I was with him, and he was like, how I got turned on to this paid Discord subscription was a planner. Like a weekly, yearly calendar planner from Target. And
who would walk down an aisle and look at a planner and be like, that'll resell?
People will walk by that, and
only way you would have known about that is probably from the Discord. So
ever since I joined that Discord, like you said, we sold kids' toys to clothes to dumbbells and weights.
What about when COVID hit?
So we could get into that. Yeah.
I remember I was staying at my girlfriend's college with her at the time, and you were contacting me. You were like, dude, if you can go and find this type of mask, you were like, you can resell these like crazy right now.
So I probably contacted everyone I knew.
Yeah.
So this is probably like the biggest flips that I ever made. You could say like biggest ticket items was, the Gucci shirt and a couple other things. But N95 masks. So in this Discord, it was before COVID or coronavirus back then hit the United States. It was like, and you would see it on the news.
You knew
like
it was
happening in
coming,
another
so
country.
people were freaking out.
I don't think there was any cases. Nobody in the United States was worried about it. And somebody in the Discord said, hey, these N95 masks are like in a shortage in another country. And they would send an eBay listing of like what has sold, and they were like, here's a list of stores that you can go check in your area if you have them that sell these masks. And I remember I went to Sherwin-Williams, and they had these like maybe a 20 pack box of the N95 masks, and I do not remember the exact prices, but it was something like that box was $20 to $25 for 20 masks or whatever. So I walked in, I'm this college kid, I'm studying, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna run to Sherwin-Williams and grab a box of N95 masks. Like, who would have thought that, you could make money from that? And I walked in, I bought a box, I always used to keep the receipt so I could see how much I sold it for, and, see how much I was making each box. I get home, that's the thing, I didn't even take my own pictures. You just get on eBay and
take the picture from
someone else's photo, listed it, sat down, played Xbox, I'm a college kid, sat down, played Xbox. 5 minutes later, it sold, and I think I made like 50 or 60 bucks on it, on that first box.
And you're like, I'm going back to Sherwin-Williams.
Pictured me in the store, there was maybe 50 of those boxes. So it was like just, so I literally shut down my game, jumped in my car, drove back, and I bought every box that they had. He was like getting boxes out of the back, and this guy's looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, had a shopping cart, and he's having to help me carry these boxes of N95 masks to my car, and he's like, what do you need these for? And I was like, oh, my uncle is a painter and needs that. I'm making up some excuse.
Yeah, if you tell him you're going to resell them for double the price, he ain't going to sell them to you.
And I woke up the next morning, and I sold a lot of them.
Thousands of dollars.
They were getting shipped through like this eBay thing where I ship it to somewhere in the United States, and then it's like a third-party company that sends those packages like to another country.
Yeah.
So they were going out of the country.
Yeah. So a big thing with reselling is kind of like a supply and demand thing, and you have to be ahead of the ball, though.
Exactly.
So you would recommend to anybody looking to get into reselling or reselling right now to join a Discord.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to join Discords. Don't be afraid to get out of your comment zone and pay for things because they could make you a lot of money.
You got to think, is my main goal was, okay, I'm paying $50 a month, so I'm negative $50 right off the bat.
Yeah,
first
but that,
of the month, and then I would strive for the first week to make that 50 back, and then I could relax or I could push forward and really follow that Discord. And it's crazy, to think.
I remember when Jewel stopped selling mint and Jewel pods.
Yep.
You were the first one. You heard that they were going to stop selling them. And at that time, everybody jeweled.
Yeah.
And you went to every gas station and picked up every pack of Jewel pods.
Sad thing about that is I kept most of them for myself. That was
college kid.
Making thing.
But I mean, if you're paying attention to stuff like that, and you're staying up to date on things that are happening and things that are going out of date, things that are selling out, things that are in a shortage, you can make a lot of money off stuff like that.
Yeah.
But what would you recommend? What would be your best advice to another kid that's been in your situation the last 5 years in college, not able to work? What would you recommend to them? What advice would you give them about reselling?
Yeah. So I really do think that the thrifting and posting clothes for sale has kind of been oversaturated within the past few years. I still walk into Goodwill and I'll see someone dressed similar to me or wearing a certain type of outfit.
And you know what they're doing. You're like, shit.
I know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's pretty common, I think, now. But there's still money to be made. There's thousands of clothing brands, and what I do is I don't watch TV or movies. I watch YouTube, and I watch people thrifting, and I watch all age. I watch super old guys thrift and old ladies, and you start to get well-rounded on random name brand stuff and random things that I've walked by a million times and didn't know that. Oh, that's $100 bill sitting right there, basically.
Right,
You buy that for $5 and sell it for $105. It's like you walk into a thrift store and you walk by money and.
Yeah, everywhere.
It just depends on what.
And there's enough to go around. There's enough for everybody, and especially if you have an eye for brands that other people aren't looking for.
Yep, exactly.
So stay consistent, keep thrift shopping because there's always money to be made at the thrift shops.
Watch YouTube videos to find out. Like I said, the older people, they do antiques and stuff, and I've been getting.
Dude, my mom has sold some. I'll add a tip, even though I'm not a reseller, but I've seen it from my mom, and she goes to estate sales.
Yeah.
So it sucks, but when someone dies, a lot of times the wife, husband, or a family member will just open up the doors to the house and say, here's the estate sale. They don't move shit, and they're just like, everything's cheap. They just want to get a lot of the times during that time, it's traumatic. They're upset, they're sad. They just want to get rid of everything. So they're not going to put a big ticket price on some of these things that are worth a lot of money. They just want it out. They just want out of that house. So my mom finds estate sales. She'll look in the newspaper, find them. She'll look online, and she travels hours away to go to these estate sales. And especially if they're in a nice city, you know what I mean? Where you know there's money, she'll go and she'll get antiques. She'll buy just the craziest stuff. Yeah. So it doesn't have to be narrowed down to clothes. Don't be closed-minded that it just has to be clothes. Yeah. You can go and find electronics. Those are big ticket prices a lot of times. Like you said, antiques. Search them, take a picture of them and Google them, and find out what they're selling for.
Something called Google Lens. Now, I think you have to have a Google account and you may have to download the Google app, but you can just take a picture of something and it'll pop up
all the results.
Search. You don't even have to look it up. You just take a picture of it. One thing too is you can make money from your house. I mean, with the Discord I was in, with nowadays and with apps and all the social media things, you can see what people are posting for sale. Maybe as far as like the Walmart app, you can see what's in stock at your local Walmart and the other local Walmart and a Walmart 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
And before
so you can essentially run a reselling business right out of your house, your college dorm even.
You can even order that stuff online, from that specific set store if they have it in the store. And you don't even have to leave your apartment. You just order it online. It gets delivered to you, and then I would like to drive and get it in hand, boom, that day.
Then you can list it and sell it,
and be able to ship it the next
day. That's part of the adventure, too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of fun to go, and search, oh, let's go to this one. Oh, there's a Walmart 5 miles away. They might have them. And then you get in the car and drive there really quick, and you're like, let's go. Yeah. Me and Summer drove around Bowling Green, dude, looking for N95 masks when you text me that night. And we went to like 10 different places.
I was offering people money.
It was storming too. It was like a snowstorm. And we were driving around looking for these masks because you were like, yo, I just sold these for like $70. And I was like, we got to go find some. We didn't find any though. They were in college town. A lot of resellers. People were already on it. They got it and they sold them all.
N95s, I would get out of class like that next day. And I went back to Sherwin-Williams. I talked with the manager. I knew when they were getting another shipment in. Like, I knew when their truck was big semi truck was pulling up in the back to
with masks. So that's another thing I want to ask you that you can give a good piece of advice to the people listening. Is don't be shy.
Yeah.
Go and talk to the managers. Go and talk to the owners of the thrift store. Go and talk to people and ask them, hey, when do you guys get your shipments in? Exactly. What day do you get your full next shipment in so I can come and I can be first in line? Because there's dudes, like you said, there's a dude that hangs out at the Goodwill or something, and he hangs there all day long for hours on end because is it the bins?
It's not the bins. It's just like when people donate clothes, new clothes come out, and he's there.
He just sits there and waits for these people to deliver new stuff, and he just will spend hours there.
He kills it, and he absolutely kills it. He puts in a little bit of extra work compared to normal people, and he kills it.
It's the same thing as anything. The more work you put into it, the more you're going to do, and the better you'll do at it. So, that's awesome. And you're still reselling today?
Yeah, so still today, I was able to keep myself afloat, as far as money-wise throughout my undergraduate. That N95 mask run really set me up for like the rest of college, which was crazy. And, I was still a broke college kid, so that money faded pretty quick. But
but it's nice to have that.
I didn't have to go out and work. I would just do, maybe not even an hour a day. I mean, like I would go like you could go drive around for an hour or 2 hours once a week and I was making money.
Yeah.
So that was cool. It kept me going through college. Moved down here, and I was really excited about the Florida thrifts. And a lot
more
bigger,
expensive, though.
A lot more people donate stuff.
Goodwill's catching on to the resellers as well. So Goodwill might not be the best option to go to. It might like mom and pop thrift shops and church thrift shops are really good.
Exactly. Church sales.
Yeah, church sales and stuff like that. But Goodwill, I've noticed just from even the last year, their prices have increased because they know people are just going in there getting shirts for 50 cents. I used to go to Goodwill. You remember, it was like the ticket sales. They'd have the different color stickers, and you could get shirts for 25 cents.
75% off.
Not anymore, dude.
Nowadays,
$5 a shirt. It's crazy.
I've been in my local Goodwill in Port Orange, Florida, and I've seen a shirt from Target. It was brand new. It had a Target tag, and it was on sale at Target, and it was like an $8 shirt. And Goodwill was charging $8.99.
Yeah,
and
they're upcharging now.
It's like makes
they're like, we're
no
gonna get into this.
sense. It's like
yeah, you
someone
can't go to
donated
Goodwill
this.
that much anymore. I
Yeah.
mean, you can still find decent stuff that you can sell. Like Summer finds Lululemon there all the time. So even if
Yep.
Lulu's selling a
Yep.
pair of leggings for 10, they're selling them at Goodwill for $15. You can
Yeah.
still sell them for 45,
See,
50. You know, that's a high-end
yep,
ticket brand.
yep. I've
So-
thrifted a few Lululemon. See, like that's on my radar of what I'm looking for is so vast. I mean, it could
Yeah.
be like
Yeah.
anything.
So stay open-minded with clothing.
yep,
Don't stick
yep.
to a certain niche.
Yep.
Just, have your
Yep,
niche and your
and
style on a
one
good eye
thing-
for certain things, but also be on the lookout for stuff that you wouldn't
Yep.
normally buy.
And that is something that I've learned by, watching other people do it.
Yeah.
Older people, younger people, and you just get a more well-rounded mind, I guess, on like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, what this is, what maybe I can make some money off of this.
Yeah,
So
cool.
one thing I wanted to say too is, there's been hundreds of days where I've gone out and spent, $20 in gas money driving around, and I've came home empty-handed. I didn't find one thing that day.
Yeah.
And it discourages you a little bit, but that's the thing. You could wake up the next morning, you could go there, and you could find
Right.
a million things. It's like
Yeah.
you never know what's going to be in those Goodwills, Salvation Armies, church
Yeah.
sales, church,
Yeah, they're constantly getting new stuff too. So
Exactly.
you might flunk
So-
out the day before, but go
Yep.
back the next
Yep,
morning. They
go
could have a
back.
fresh shipment of stuff in with 10
Exactly.
Lululemon shirts.
Yep.
One rich lady came in and decided she didn't want to she didn't,
Yep.
she doesn't give a shit about these anymore, and they're expensive. Like we've went, and obviously it had to have been the same person that dropped this whole load off, like 5 pairs of Lululemon
yeah.
leggings that Summer's found, and she's just like, I'll take it.
all.
Stupid,
Because
but
then one pair, she could sell one pair.
one pair
and
is-
it pays for everything.
all
and then
of
the
them.
rest is give
Straight
them to your
profit,
friends
yeah.
or post them. And if they don't sell for a year, then it's fine. You're not down any money.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad we got to get you on here.
Yeah,
We've been planning this for a little while.
yeah.
I think you'll help a lot of broke college students get
Yeah.
through school, stay afloat, be able to buy some beer on the weekends and hang
Yeah.
out and,
Oh,
and
yeah.
be able to afford groceries and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So
That extra like side money. It's
yeah.
always been my little side hustle, but it's my main hustle is
Yeah.
selling clothes, shoes, anything now. Nowadays, like we were saying, is I'm in school and definitely busy, but there's always time to stop into Goodwill
Absolutely,
for 15,
yeah, there's
20
always
minutes,
time.
take a look, grab a few shirts.
yeah.
And
And even when you're a chiropractor in like 3 years, you'll probably still side
I
hustle,
think I
sell
really
just
will.
because
I'm like
it's
into
fun.
clothes. I like
it's like Gary
I like
Vee. He
older
still goes to
clothes.
garage sales.
Yeah.
I love those videos he puts up. Gary Vee,
Yeah.
he
Oh,
goes to those garage sales and
See,
buys stuff. Like he'll
I
find
like those, but you got to think like why I really stick to clothes and shoes now. I'm open to other stuff, but like you got to think sometimes you accumulate some stuff.
Oh,
you know what
my
I mean?
mom's basement,
If
dude.
That's one thing though is I know I've seen it, and that's good though.
Yeah.
If you have the space for it. But what I've been blessed with is if I buy something, it usually sells within a month. So like I don't accumulate a ton of stuff, and if I do accumulate stuff, it's stuff that I put in my personal
Mm-hmm.
closet that in 5-10 years from now, I still probably will be able to sell. And
Yeah.
it'll probably be worth more than I could sell it for now. So that's what's cool. Is like I also build my closet, and I like shoes, and I like
Yeah.
to dress up, and
So anything you don't sell, you're like, I still
exactly,
like
if
that.
it's
I
my
can
size,
wear it.
I'll
Yeah.
keep it, and
Cool.
it's cool. Yeah, man.
Awesome, guys. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in and watching today's podcast. Special guest Adam, thanks for coming on, man. Keep reselling, keep
Yeah.
staying afloat at college, and get through these next 3 years of chiropractic school. Become a doctor. Make sure you guys subscribe. Keep
yeah,
watching the podcast. Appreciate it.
Heck yeah. Peace.